Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the L2 Construction series platform. Now, today's topic, this afternoon's topic is what is a defect? Can we manage defect with construction technology? Now, we have two special guests with us today. One, Sr.Isacc Sunder Rajan. He is the chairman of Chartered Association of Building Engineers. And we also have Mr.Chuah Huai Jie, who is the CEO of ProSales, which is a property tech company. Now, what we are going to have today is that we will first invite Sr.Isacc to talk about defects and the nature of defects that you see in the building industry. And then we will invite Mr. Chuah to talk about the management of the defects in the building industry using construction technology. Now, without further ado, I would like to invite Surveyor Sunder to introduce briefly about himself and thereafter proceed with his presentation for the day. Over to you, Isaac.
Thank you, Loon. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope all safe and well. And for those who are celebrating Easter, happy Easter. That was yesterday. So thank you again, Loon and Hong Kit, for inviting me to present this topic on your platform. Before we start this presentation, some background about myself. I'm a chartered building surveyor and also practicing as an arbitrator and adjudicator. I've been in the construction industry for more than 35 years. And I'm also, as Loon has stated, I'm the current chair of the Chartered Association of Building Engineers Malaysia chapter, and also the managing director for ProConsult, which is a boutique construction consultancy firm specializing in building surveying, dispute resolution support, and claims consultancy. Today, I will be presenting on what is a defect, and Mr. Chuah will be then presenting on can we manage defects with construction technology. A little bit about Chartered Association of Building Engineers. This is a 95-year-old professional association based in the UK, and it is a unifying force within the construction industry. By supporting members who work across the life cycle of the built environment, specializing across a wide range of disciplines. Now, CAB has been around in Malaysia, probably some may know it as the IAAS, the Incorporated Association of Architects and Surveyors, and then it became the Association of Building Engineers, and now it's known as the Chartered Association of Building Engineers. And as of January this year, the Chartered Engineers have recognized, given it a full recognition. So it's also a constitution body of the Chartered Engineers in the UK as well as under Washington Accord. Next, please. Next slide, please. Now, okay, again, what does it benefit for members is actually all members have access to a strong professional community at local, national, international levels. In Malaysia, every year we are conducting an annual conference, which is held in January every year, and members are encouraged to attend. And as a member, you will have access to online, direct access to others, and enabling you to discuss relevant issues, share knowledges, and provide solutions. Next, please. Next. What is a defect? Now, this is the main topic that I'm going to discuss with the participants today. Next, please. Now, the purpose of today's topic is to provide assistance to new home owners who may be unsure of what constitutes a defect. Next, please. Now, if you look at the at a dictionary, and one of the best dictionaries to which defines defects is the Webster's Dictionary, which defines defects as an imperfection or abnormality that impairs quality, function, and utility. Next, please. Now, there are generally two types of defects. One is the patent defect, the other one is the latent defect. Next, please. Now, what is patent defect? Patent defects are obvious, something that you can actually see, observe by visualize by your eyesight. And often that means that it's an easy fix. These defects are surface level and often merely aesthetic. So accessing and repairing the issue is typically not invasive. Next, please. Now, what is latent defect? Latent defects aren't obvious. That usually means they are below the surface and even a defective system in a project. As a result, latent defects tend to be a little more problematic since it mostly becomes obvious after the defects liability period has expired. These are usually related to design issues, but not exclusively. Next, please. Different types of these. From there, we have differentiated into another group, what we call other areas of defect, which is design defects, material defects, and workmanship defects. Next, please. Now, basically, from our local research and from CIDB and other associations, we have come out to 5 areas that defects can be defined as follows. 1, non-compliance with building codes and UBBL. Now, UBBL meaning Uniform Building Bylaws. 2, non-agreed variation from approved drawings. Failure to meet agreed contractual specification. Premature product failure. Failure to achieve acceptable industry levels of quality and performance on items specified. Next, please. Now, what constitutes a defect? What constitutes a defect can change over time with fair wear and tear, settlement, weathering, or aging of materials. Therefore, what constitutes a defect at handover may not constitute a defect after 24 months. Example, a deep scratching on a polished floor is a defect at handover, but may not be several months later due to fair wear and tear. Next, please. If the contract specification and documentation do not provide sufficient information, the issue may be covered by an existing Malaysian standard or construction industry standard 7 by CIDB. The developer is required to remedy defects notified within 24 months of completion of the building works. Next, please. Now, what is not a defect? A developer cannot be held liable for the event that is not attributable to the developer. 1, damage that occurs outside of human control. 2, damage done by a person outside of the developer's control. Damage resulting from failure to undertake normal maintenance. Damage resulting from a failure to carry out repairs as soon as practical after the defects becomes apparent. Next, please. Issues emerging over time. Where issues emerge after a 24-month defects liability period, this may still be covered under implied warranties or other legislation, but this may require the assistance of other consultants, building consultants, and lawyers' involvement to identify. Much more difficult. Occupants' activities. Now, misuse or caused by occupants' activities, these are not considered defect. Now, example, allowing water to sit on timber-based flooring such as parquet or strip flooring can lead to swelling and buckling of the flooring. Now, this is not a defect because this is a misuse or caused by the occupants. Next, please. Next, please. Maintenance requirement. All buildings require ongoing maintenance. Any issues that arise through lack of maintenance to building elements, materials, appliances, or fixtures do not represent a defect. So if you take vacant possession of a building and you do not maintain your house and let water seep into the house, that is not a defect. Design work. Now, design work is actually considered latent defects. So latent defects don't surface very quickly. So normally it is, you can only encounter this kind of defects after the 24-month period. This is, design work is carried out by architects and engineers, are included in other legislation such as the Architects Act, Engineers Act. Next, please. Now, inspecting surfaces and fixtures. While some aspect of materials and workmanship can be measured, other aspects such as variations in texture, color, transparency, reflectivity, and finishes should be observed and assessed while in the normal viewing position. Normal viewing position is at an unobstructed viewing angle of 45 degrees or more, and if indoors with a uniform typical level of lighting. Now, normal viewing position is an upright position. You stand upright and then you look at the surface that you are inspecting. Now, the lighting, the typical level of lighting should be diffuse lighting, not direct lighting. For example, tile surfaces, painted surfaces, the viewing position standing at a distance of more than 2 meters. At least 2 meters, you view the surface. And if you find a defect, then you record it down. Item 2 is external architectural masonry viewing position standing at not less than 3 meters away in diffuse lighting. So these are some of the examples of how you would inspect. Lighting. Now, it's a common practice to use high output lighting to accentuate areas during requiring attention during construction phase. But this level of lighting is not suitable for performing a subjective visual inspection of interior surfaces. Next, please. Now, I've a recommended checklist. Now, normally a good developer will provide you with a checklist at the time when vacant possession and keys are handed over to the purchaser. But if he doesn't, then you have a sample that I've given here, which comprises of, you start with the internal finishes, you go to ceilings, flooring, and every item you record down what is the defect visually that you can see. So you start with ceiling, flooring, internal wall finishes, tiling, floor finishes, door and windows, electrical fittings and fixtures, plumbing, drainage, cabinet, and bench tops. Now, all these inspections are basically visual. You don't need to do bring any other equipment. Next, please. Then you go to external finishes. You have roof coverings, wall cladding, external wall finishes, external works. Now, external works for landed property is quite straightforward. You have a little bit of landscaping or just some turfing and items like that. But if you are purchasing a strata property, then you have a common area. Now, the common area has got much more extensive external works. So it could be swimming pool, it could be squash courts, and all these items. Then you come to structural component. Now, this is also visual. Does not require any testing or whatnot. It just requires you to note down the cracks, where is the location, and all these, including leakages from interfloor leakages for strata property, as well as leakages from the toilet to the bedroom. All these need to be listed down and given to the developer. Next, please. Now, coming to construction law, Now, I have dealt with the homeowners roughly, very briefly. Now, I'm going to just talk about the construction law. The history is ancient. Next, please. Now, contracts have been around for a long time. The first is said to be the Code of Hammurabi. Now, King Hammurabi ruled the kingdom of Babylon from 1792 to 1750 BC. That's about 4,000 years ago. As one would expect, it dealt with payment. If a builder builds a house for someone and completes it, he shall give him a fee of 2 shekels. That's around 2 troy ounce of gold, which is worth about 8,000 USD in today's money. Yeah? For a sa of area, which is 36 meters, that comes to about around 360 to 380 square feet. Next, please. The code also dealt with responsibility for any defects. If a builder builds a house for a man and does not make the construction meet the requirements and the wall falls in, the builder shall strengthen the wall at his own expense. If a builder builds a house for a man and does not make the construction firm, the house which he has built collapses, causing the death of the owner of the house, that builder shall be put to death. If the son of the owner dies, the son of the builder shall be killed. Now, this is very, very harsh, one would say, but this is 4,000 years ago. Next, please. Now, times have moved on. Some of the typical contractual regimes in Malaysia can be found in the AIAC standard form of contracts, the PAM form of contract, the PWD 203 form of contract, CIDB form of contract, international form of contract like FIDIC, and the whole range of bespoke contracts. Next, please. In Malaysia, our contract law is basically governed and enforced by Contracts Act 1950. Section 38(1) of the Contracts Act provides that the parties of a contract must either perform or offer to perform their respective promises unless such performance have been dispensed with by any. Next, please. Next, please, here. Under the standard form of contract, which I've taken a typical example, the following clauses deal with defects. Clause 1, which is the contractor's general obligations. Clause 6, which is works and services to conform to the contract. Clause 12, quality of works. And clause 14 says materials and goods in fixed or off-site. Clause 15 is practical completion and defects liability. Next, please. Next, please. Next, please. In conclusion, I've touched briefly on what is a defect and what a purchaser of a new property should do when vacant possession is given. The governing act for new homeowners and developers is the Housing Development Act 118 and the Sales and Purchase Agreement Schedule G and H. As for developers and contractors, the governing act is the Contracts Act 1950 Act 136. Now, developers and contractors are encouraged to use standard forms such as AIAC, SFC to minimize disputes. Next, please. Okay, thank you. That's the end of my presentation.
Thanks, Isaac, for the presentation. You know, a general run through of what defects are. Yeah. And then now we have Mr. Chuah to speak to us about the management of defects using technology. Now, without further ado, can I invite Mr. Chuah of ProSales to introduce a bit about himself before proceeding with his presentation for the day. Now, Mr. Chuah, over to you.
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Loon. Yeah, thanks for inviting me. It's actually my honor to be here and meet everyone today. Okay. Just a brief for my background. Actually, I'm Chuah. that I used to be a software engineer, which is you also call the tech guys. That currently I'm running a property technology company that is established on the 2015. That we are trying to providing the automation and digitalization solution for all those the property industry player, that we are trying to help them to solve the real-time problem, and by reinventing and streamlining their traditional process through our system. Okay, besides that, I'm also one of the member of the Malaysia Property Association, just for your information. Okay, then today I would like to share about how can we manage the construction defect by using the technology. Throughout the whole defect liability periods, by using the traditional method to handle the defect record, what you can see is already inside this slide, that for the property owner or the property management, they will based on their usage, and then they will submit their unit defects form physically to the property developer. Then after that, the developer will compile all these defect form and then pass it to the main con. Then after that, the main con will distribute the defect task based on the different type of category to the subcon to do the defect fixing. Then after the subcon is already fixed the defect, they have to be notified back to the main con, and then the main con will notify back to the property developer. Then after the property developer side, they verify everything is already completely fixing at the contractor side. They will only going to send the announcement or the notification to the property owner or the property management about, okay, guys, your defect is already fixed, then you can just go and check yourself. But if we are currently using this traditional method, it will consume many of times. So basically today I would like to share about what is the major pain points during the defect liability periods for the developer and even for the contractor. For the first one is the time consuming in defect form submission and task distribution to correct contractor. One of the thing that we find out is all those the submission process and also the passing process for the developer to the owner or until the contractor to the end of contractor actually is consume a lot of times. So this is actually one of the biggest pain point. Then and the time consuming will lastly leads to the contractor don't have enough time to do their fixing. Okay, for the second one is the missing of physical defect form. Everyone is taking the defect form, pass in here. Then there will be surely some of the defect form will become missing. Then after that, the poor documents management. Because all these things in the physical method, then all the document management have to be very organized. If let's say one of the admins doesn't do the documentation things, then all the defect forms will very easily become very messy. Okay, for the last one is the low contractor KPI due to poor defect task management. So basically for the contractor is what the contractor receive the defects is based on what the developer passes to them. If let's say between the period that when the developer pass the defect details to the contractor, it will have something that's not tally. Okay, then for my proposed solution to manage the technology to manage the whole defect liability period is actually we are trying to do a defect management system that to manage everyone inside the system. Means that everyone, including the contractor, the property developer, even the architect, property owner, and also the property management, they are able to using the same defect management system to file in their defects and share all those defect records together. What the technology that is currently using inside the platform is the real-time technology. By using the real-time technology, everything is running online, which is 24/7, that it may allow all those persons in charge to manage the defect from any time and anywhere. Even the contractor can be manage their defect on the site. Okay, then for the defect records can be viewed instantly after the owner submitted the defect, which means that there will not have any delaying issue that causes the defect record submit late. Okay, then the overview of the defect records. Inside the system, the platform is able to provide the analytics and the insight to let the contractor or even the developer to know that which of the defect records, what is their progresses or what is the status, whether the defect record is currently is in progress, is fixing by contractor or already completed by contractor, or maybe is pending for the verification for the property management side. So everything of the every defect related information can be viewed it in the mobile apps or the website. Okay, besides that, by using since the defect liability period is always come with the vacant possession, which the owner have to do all those, the appointment and also pass the key handover. Then so by using the system, it can be as easy as just like what you're going to buy to book the cinema tickets. You just see, okay, which of the day, what is the time slot is available. Then I just book for the period to proceed on the property handover. Then for the defect form inside, by using the technology, all the defect form won't be in the physical format. It will be running everything by virtually and digitalized. So that, okay, even for the owner, they can just directly download the apps and then share and then create and manage their defect by using their mobile apps. Just like the screenshot on my screen. For the owner view, they just only need to click on the button, manage the defect, then plot the defect location inside their plans. Then after that, take the photo of the defects and then just submit. All the detailed information can be captured and viewed in the mobile apps and or the tablet. Even for the contractor, when the defect is already submitted at the owner side, if for the developer or the contractor side, they can directly have the new notification about, okay, this is the new defect record that is currently submitted by who. Then after that, when they click inside the details, it will show out the whole defect detail, including the photo. Okay, then for the defect record assignment, one of the largest issue for the main con is actually they are trying, because since that a main con is need to manage more than maybe 5 or 6 subcontractor teams are there. Each of the subcontractor team is actually managed for different type of the category of the defects. So mainly by using the traditional way, all these things in the physical defect form, then the main con have to be distribute all these tasks to them. And then when they are finished, done all these things, they need to collect back all those defect form. But if let's say you're using the technology, you can actually directly pre-assign the defect record instantly when the defect record is created. Everything is digitalized and then no human contact is needed. Okay. Then after that is the last one is the paperless management. By using the technology, we can actually eliminate all the traditional defect forms, and then you can say no more to the messy documentation and no more defect form missing issue. Everything is organized and keep it digitally. What you want to get the information, you just go to the platform and then you just search whatever you want. Okay, so basically this is my presentation, but for now I just want to do a quick demo on how really is the technology helps the developer or the contractor. Yeah, okay, guys. So you all can see from my screen is actually this is my mobile app that. Sorry, hello. Yeah. Okay. For now, actually, you all can see from my screen. Actually, this is my mobile app, which is we call it as the ProFix, that is used for the vacant possession and also the defect management system. Okay, basically, when you click inside, then you are able to view. Maybe I can just start from the before the defect liability period, the DLP. All the developer have to send out all those the clearance notice to the owner. Then the owner only able to do the appointments, right? Then by using our system, actually, the owner is able to do the appointment themselves. Then after they doing the appointment themselves, what the property management and the developer side, they can actually directly view that, okay, which of the units and what is the person in charge they're going to do the handover during that day. Like let's say this is the example of the appointment that already done and already haven't checked in. For the already handover, when you click on it, you are able to know that, okay, when is they check in and check out, what is the water meter reading, electrical meter reading, and even for the digital EE signature for the handover. And besides that, we are also able to capture the inventory checklist that show out that, okay, what is the spec, and also what is the thing that, what is the key, how many keys already passed throughout the handover section. Okay. Then after the key is already handed over to the owner, then the owner is able to directly do the defect. Okay, maybe I can just slightly show you how easy is the owner to submit the defect. Okay. Yeah, okay. So basically when they click on the unit, okay, maybe I just find a unit for the example. Okay, there will be the details of the owner. Then after I click on the manage defect, okay, what the owner has to do is they actually directly will show out the layout plan of their units, and then they just click on the plot the details. Okay, which of the, like let's say this one is the master bedroom, and then when you click on done, there will be some selection like the location, master bedroom, what is the area, maybe it's the ceiling, then what is the defect category, the category maybe is the crack ceiling. After that, they are able to submit, take the photo of the image. And like example, I just take the photo here, and after that I just click on upload, and then if there's any remarks then you can just write out the remarks . Okay, after that, you just click on sure, then the defect report is already submitted. This is very easy for the owner. Then when the owner is that, when they already successfully submit the defect record, you can just easily, for the contractor or the developer side, there is a today list which will show out that all the unit defects today that's submitted by the owner. Like let's say this is the example. They already submit just now, then all this can be directly assigned to the contractor so that they can proceed to their defect fixing. So based on this one, you are able to see that, okay, this is the defect area that we are able to know that, okay, which of the part, even the contractor, they directly using our apps during they fixing the defect on site on the room. Means that for the contractor, they actually just bring a mobile app there. Mobile apps, then they are able to directly go to the site and do the fixing. Okay, then after that, for the contractor, they actually got a defect unit listing that already assigned to them. But let's say the example like A2201, the in progress actually 12/14, which means that there's got 12 defect tasks is currently in progress. They're pending their fixing. If let's say they already fixed the defects, they are also able to directly upload the photo that they already fixed, so that the developer side or the property management side, they are able to directly do the comparison, see the before and after, what the owner already upload and what the contractor already fixed. Then after that, for the management side, they are able to verify whether this one is already fixed or not, or they can actually ask the contractor to redo. If let's say everything is very nice, then they just click on the below button or the verify button that all the defect record is already verified that, okay, this record is already fully fixed. Then after you fix everything, then it will prompt out as the already verified by admin. Then if let's say everything is closed case, then the owner will be able to receive the notification telling them that, okay, this defect items is already fixed by the contractor. Please check on your side. So basically, this is what our system is trying to handle for the defect management and the defect records. Then besides that, for our system, for our mobile apps, we are also able to do the filtering for the due date left. Like basically for all the contractor, they also keep on rushing on the due dates, right? But if let's say all the defect records is too many, they are not able to know that actually which of the defect record is going to be expired or going to be the due date soon. So by using this due date filtering, they can actually help them to filter out, okay, which one they have to prioritize to fix first. So basically for this one is what I'm trying to show you all, how the technology is able to help the developer side and the contractor side in managing their defect records.
Hongkit, you can, do you have any questions for Mr. Chuah?
And let's say, but because due to this one, it's just a very quick demo for my system lah. If let's say you all want to have a more complete of the demo of anything, you can just contact our teams at the below there lah. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuah. I like what you show us. Now I have some questions for you, Chuah. I believe this is also a question from many other companies. The general perception is that the construction technology is rather expensive. So in light of many other problems that companies in the construction industries are likely to face now, especially now, like paying the overhead, taxes, contractors and materials. My question is this: why would companies want to invest in technology at this difficult time?
Yeah. Okay. In my opinion, actually every tough situation always comes with the opportunity. Although we all know that this currently the market and the economy is very tough and very slow nowadays, but bear in mind that the investment on technology is not the expenditure. It's not like today I just pay the money to you and get the software to be on board, then tomorrow I will definitely directly get the result or the return. But in fact, the technology is a long-term investment for the future. You must understand that the digital transformation for your company is not used as just the temporary solution during this COVID-19 MCO period. But you need to make sure that it can bring you more and more benefit in future if you are going to continue this digital transformation. But whether you like it or not, the technology is actually a trend that is going to be the norm for each industry, not only for the property and construction. And this is the thing that you must going to invest on it in order you are able to stay the competitive in the market. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuah. Can you share with us some successful experience from adopting defect management software compared to the conventional style of how defects are managed?
Oh, yeah. Okay. This is actually a very good question. Maybe I can just answer you based on my client experience.
Yeah, a quick one will do, Chuah, because the time is overrunning.
Yeah, okay. Because some of our clients, they actually, after they using our platform, our system, then all their administration work actually can be done and organized digitally. And then one of the things is their administrative staff, their headcount is reduced up to 40% from the maybe initially of 5 to 6 administrative staff, reduced up until 3 or 4 staff. And besides that, during this MCO is already implemented period, all the premises, all the building, including the management office, is closing down. Then for those, the company is still using the traditional method. Actually, they can't do anything until the MCO is finished. But for our client side, they are still able to communicating and doing their defect works at home. But for this one, even for the defect, the essential some SOS defect that submit during the MCO period, they are still able to attend it virtually and assign it to the contractor to fix it. I hope that I answer your question. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Impressive. Loon, do you have any questions?
Yes, I have actually questions for Isaac. Isaac, are you there?
Yes.
Isaac?
Yes.
I have one question for you. You know, if I'm a purchaser of a property from a developer, right? And I have already gotten the keys for vacant possession. Now I want to go and do some defects inspection, correct, right? So then what are the tips that you would give to a property owner during the defects inspection? What should they look up for and what they should do?
Okay, basically an organized developer would straight away, during the time of vacant possession and handing over the keys, you would give them a standard of the items that they can check. So, but if they are not given, then what I have recommended here is actually a basic list that they can do, and they should immediately, when they take vacant possession, arrange for inspection with the developer, with the checklist, and conduct the inspection based on, basically they have to check and see whether the property that they are receiving actually matches with the sales brochures, the SNP, which they have, SNP agreement, and the schedule G and H that they have signed for. Then, of course, they have to do a visual checking. Now, if they suspect it is more than something that's more serious, of course, then they can also consult with consultants. But basically, for home buyer, we're assuming that the property is delivered in good condition. You do a visual inspection of any of the minor defects, and you list it down, and then you give it back to the contractor. But and as and when defects encountered during the 24-month period, you can still add on to the defects list and inform the developer.
Thank you, Isaac. You see, when you talk about the 24 months defects liability period, I understand that under the law, it would only apply to units or property which is classified as residential, right?
That's right.
So if it is not classified as residential, what would then be the defects liability period for those properties?
Now, irrespective of whether it is what do you call a property that is listed as residential under the Housing Developers Act, there is always a defects liability period, but the period may change. So generally in the industry, if it is not governed by the Housing Development Act, for example, if you buy a commercial property, or if you buy a service apartment, now this would be, you have to refer to the contract or the SNP that you sign. In any SNP, there will be a defects liability period. But the period differs. It can be 12 months, it can be 18 months, and this is the norm that is, it is slightly below what is offered for under the law for residential properties.
I see. Okay, thank you, Isaac. You know, I have a question from the audience, which asks about latent defects. What is the limitation period? Let's say I bought the property in 2010, and then I only got to know about the defects, which is latent in nature, in 2018. So would I still be able to go after the developers? Now, I think in the past, it would be a bit technical on that, because the Limitation Act only says 6 years. But since September 2019, there is an amendment to the Limitation Act, which actually applies to defects, latent defects for construction matters or building matters, which means that if you only discovered with reasonable diligence at, let's say, 2019, even though you bought the property in 2010, you can still have 3 years to bring your action from 2019, even though you bought the properties only in 2010. So the Amendment Act has actually made it possible for you to even launch a claim in negligence, not under the contract, in negligence against the developer after the 6 years limitation period. But then it is subject, it cannot be perpetual. There must be a cutoff time. So the maximum is only 15 years. Let's say the defects occurred in 2010, but you only discovered it in 2019. That is fine. Let's say if the defects actually occurred in 2010, but you only discovered it in 2026, which is already past the 15 years, then the Limitation Act would not come to you cannot seek a remedy. So maximum is 15 years. But once you have discovered the defects already, you have to deal with it or take action within 3 years from the date of discovery. We're talking about latent defects. So hopefully this one will answer your question about the amendment to the Limitation Act, which is more favorable to the purchasers. Of course, it will provide a headache to the developers. Now, I think we have actually overran the session for 15 minutes. Can I invite Isaac first to make a concluding remark, then followed by Mr. Chuah?
Okay, thank you, Huai Loon, and thank you participants for taking the time to listen to this session. One good piece of news that is going to come out is that the CIDB, in collaboration with the Chartered Association of Building Engineers, is working on a homeowners guide to assist homeowners to identify defects. So this will give some sort of assistance to the general homeowners, because although technology, as was presented by Chuah, is very good, but not all developers will pick up that kind of technology. So generally speaking, is I think one other thing is that when you're doing DIY type of self inspecting, you need some sort of guideline. So the guideline that we are working on would provide some assistance. Right. Thank you. That's my parting advice.
Thank you, Isaac. Mr. Chuah, do you have any parting words to the audience?
Yeah, thanks for Isaac for your advice. Actually, what for the user guide is actually what inside our system, we actually got provide the in-app user guide to lead the user how to use our system. And of course, I need to thank you everyone for listening on my sharing on how the technology brings the convenience and benefit to the property and construction industry. But the main purpose that I would like to highlight is the technology is moving very, very fast nowadays, especially for the upcoming 5G era. The digital transformation, I can't say that it is a must, but it surely will be the one of the major advantages to keep your company to stay competitive in markets. So instead of using the traditional method and stay in the comfort zone, why not you just go one more step further and enjoy the benefit that the technology can bring to your company and secure your position earlier in the market before it's too late. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks for our guests Isaac and Chuah's presentation today. It's lovely. As we all know, the defect is a very common issue in construction project. In fact, it's almost impossible for a project to be 100% defect-free. So to address the issue of defect, is not to avoid it, but to acknowledge and manage it effectively. Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoy and learn something new from today's section. We will continue our L2 construction series tomorrow morning. So far, we have lawyer, claim consultant, arbitrator, then professor, tech guy, contractor, and consultant join us. Tomorrow morning, we will have developer coming on board to share with us their view. So join us tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Isaac. Thank you, Wai Loon.
Thank you,
Chuah.
Wai Loon and Ongkit.
Thank you, Isaac and Mr. Chua, and the audience.
Thank you, Wai Loon. Thank you, Ongkit.
Bye.